It is quite simple, honestly. You're looking frightened.
So the right foot drops onto the floor first. Right, left, right, hop. Left, right, hop. Should we start that again? Right, left, hop. Left, right, hop. Let's keep that going. Right, left, hop. Left, right, hop. Right, left, hop.
It's quite daunting when you first take to the streets because Morris dancing is quite a streets activity, and you know, wearing the bells, you're meant to attract attention to yourself and mark your own turf. So the first time you do it, it is quite scary. The first time we went out, in fact, we got knocked out of the way by a rival Morris team.
We did,
On
so
St George's Day.
On St George's Day, so learnt the hard way that actually you have to be quite pushy, but you soon just get used to it, and actually we're constantly surprised by how the audience reaction and how people do stop and watch, and they're absolutely fascinated by it.
Is this something in a way that could only be kind of done now? Because I'm thinking 10, 15, 20 years ago, it would have almost been too much, that however you would have done it, it would have just been such a joke that you know, no one would have really... I remember, and now I don't think I'm laughing at it as much as I might have done 15, 20 years ago, for whatever reason. Do you feel that as well, that it's something you can now do?
I think it's helped by the fact that the English folk music scene is really, it's having a massive, feels like there's a big revival going on. And they're so inextricably linked, a lot of the tunes and the dances. It's such a big crossover that I think the fact that Morris dancing, it kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah, 10 years ago I knew somebody who was a Morris dancer, and you know, I think I did laugh at it.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I know I said that on camera. No, but I think you know, I agree with what you're saying.
But at the heart of it, what is it that do you think has endured? Because obviously it's been through so many... I mean, when you do the bloody search to find out what it's all about, you even get the sense that even in, like, unless I've read this wrong, but even in the 19th century, they were trying to imagine its ancient roots. So it's almost, as soon as it began, people seem to be mythologizing about where it had come from and what it was. And yet somehow it endures, doesn't it? It goes through all its changes, and somehow it's made it all this way, right into the 21st century. So at the heart of it, there's obviously something going on. Now, what's your reading of what that is? Why it's sort of maintained itself through thick and thin and different centuries?
Well, I think there is I mean, it's entertainment at the end of the day, and I think any form of public entertainment only survives if people want to watch it. But so I think there's definitely that element, and I think definitely Morris has changed in terms of what it presents to people. But I think there is another side of Morris dancing, which is that it's not for people to watch, and it's for the enjoyment of the performers themselves, and that's a really important part. And there is something that is liberating, I think I personally find, about Morris dancing, of the joy of jumping and of doing these capers, and finding other people who love it as much as I do, and dancing with them is a really strong part of it.
So now you've got the hang of that step, clearly.
That's the double step.
That's the double step. You do two of those. So you go right, hop, left, hop. And then you do something even more simple. Right, hop, left, hop, left, hop, together, jump. Yeah, let's do that again. And right, hop, left, hop, left, hop, together, jump.
There is a purity about this particular form of dancing where people would look at you and say, and be appalled that somehow you're spoiling its purity or ruining it. So is there not? Is there no way that anybody could say this is exactly how it should be, and it's fixed in point, so therefore, you know, it doesn't matter?
Yeah, there are plenty of people who do say that. There is a really strong traditional element and everyone has their own opinion. The thing about Morris dancing is that there are lots of different traditions, but then within those traditions, every team will dance that tradition in a slightly different way, and so they'll have arguments about different ways to flick a hanky or really very small nuances. So there are plenty of people who would say that what we do is not the right way to do it. But at the end of the day, it's got to evolve, I think.
So how have you pieced it together then? What studies have you made? And what decisions have you made about how you want to represent Morris dancing? Or is that a stupid question?
No, not at all. We do quite a lot of. We watch quite a lot of Morris videos.
Oh, yes. A lot of YouTube.
And there is, I mean, there is a book that's been compiled with all the dance notations, and they're quite strange little notations that you have to decipher.
It's like
And we
knitting
use
patterns for
language.
footsteps.
So we have used that as well, and taught ourselves from that book.
Is there meaning to
In the steps.
Yeah, is there meaning to a routine? Is there a meaning to the way you react to each other? I mean, what have you learned about the meaning of all the costumes, what it represents? Is there a precise sense of that, or is that again just up for grabs and people kind of invent?
It's a little bit invented. I mean, there are some people who say that there's like pagan origins, but I mean, we've developed our own kit, and I think every team basically decides what's important to them. Not quite sure.
It's a difficult one. I mean, our kit was really, we wanted to stand out a little because we're London-based. London's a bit cut and thrust. You've got to be, you know, sort of have to shout to be heard, especially on St George's Day. So the reason we wear something a little more unusual and striking is purely that sort of, that London-based sort of feel to it. There's something a little bit of a nod to music hall about us sometimes, a little tiny bit of theatre, so that's where that's come from.
I think a lot of dance is probably a weird kind of hybrid, but I think there is something that is very English about Morris dancing.
Because you see, I've often wondered with that, with you know, the way that they say you can judge a nation's character by its dancing, and the fact that our national dance ultimately, it's almost a national, it's almost, we're embarrassed that this might be our national dance. Instead of actually thinking about it in a slightly different way and looking at it as a kind of weirdly ancient mystical ritual that actually is quite exciting. I think people got embarrassed about it. Do you sense a bit of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
There's a lot
there's
of
a bit of
embarrassment.
sniggerings.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
It's a difficult one to bring up as a conversation sometimes. I'm a Morris dancer.
It's like
Snigger,
coming out,
snigger.
really, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
It took a while to tell our
But like-
friends.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happened when you said that you were
Well,
a
they
Morris
just
dancer?
heard the bells jingling, I think.
Okay, giveaway.
Gave it away.
So who's booking you then? What kind of things are you doing?
Lots of different stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, we
From,
do.
Yeah, more traditional days of dance to, I don't know, where was the Coco and, you know, these great big
Camden
clubs.
Night
Glastonbury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
festivals.
Festival and Camp Festival. So we do quite a few mainstream things as well. We find that the mainstream in music industry is quite interested in us.
Really, yes.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that as well. Now, why is that, do you think?
Well, I think because it just...
Are you just a bit
I
a
think
kind of
we
extreme
somehow
version
do-
of a girl band and they've suddenly thought,
There is a
hang
bit,
on
we
a
are
minute.
Bananarama of the Morris world. Everybody has called us that. I don't know if that's a good thing. But when we dance at Coco, for example, we'd go to these nightclubs, and we've taught in Cargo, we taught people Shepherd's Hay, one of our dancers, and they were so
Yeah.
enthusiastic about it. And it's just, I
least
think
a
it's because we
couple of
look
hundred
great
people.
and we look fun,
It's
and
different.
and people
And
love
it's-
us
yeah.
because they never see it. You never see Morris dancers, or female Morris dancers especially, in a nightclub at 11:30 or midnight or
Yeah.
whenever. And I think that just really drives people a bit crazy, doesn't it?
It does, it certainly does. They've been clubbing all night and suddenly Morris dancers get on stage.
But as dancers, does dance mean something? Because I keep looking at people and they're dancing and they seem to be trying to talk or something, expressing themselves, and they're trying to do something. I don't quite understand it, but they clearly do, and they're pulling expressions and making physical gestures that seems to suggest that there's a
You
language.
sure it is
there.
dancing?
And it is.
Physical violence.
But do you feel that when you're doing it, that basically there's some kind of expression you're doing? It's something more than just a physical activity, a way of keeping fit. It's something else that you feel, you know, that you and the way you connect with each other as three people that clearly get on I mean, there must be something within that that's quite an interesting dynamic. You know?
I think there does come a time where you know a dance so well that you're not just doing the dance, but you're, and I guess every dance would say this, but you're dancing with other people, so you almost become kind of one dance, super dancer. But you almost become like one, dancing together, and I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's so much of a language of trying to express something to each other specifically as just, as Ellen said, sort of all doing the same thing together and doing it well and sort of, you know, getting through it and, you know, achieving it at the end is just, you know.
So it's a kind of togetherness.
Yeah,
Definitely,
that's what it is.
I think that's a really key thing. It's sharing something that you really love doing, and I personally just love the movements of Morris and all the different steps and the jumps and the waving of the arms and all the big movements. That's what I love about it, and being able to share that and do the same thing with 2 other people or however many other people. That's really why I do it, I think.